Hey everyone! So as I've mentioned, it was recently my 1-year anniversary of making videos on this channel, and I'm also really close to 3,000 subscribers, which is really exciting. So I thought it would be fun to do a Q&A. So let's get into the questions. What do you do with books that you have obtained, purchased, or were gifted to you and you ended up not enjoying? Usually I don't receive books that I don't like because people know my tastes pretty well, but sometimes I do end up with books, usually cheap ones that I got at a yard sale, that I don't end up liking, and so I'll usually just continue the cycle and put them in another yard sale. If I know I'm not going to want to read it again, then I give it to someone else so there's more space for books that I do like on my shelves. Do you think it is essential or important for readers to explore the classics? Important? Definitely, but essential? No. I don't want to dictate what people should or shouldn't be reading, but I recommend at least giving them a try. I think you might be surprised at how good they are. The important thing to know is that not all classics read like Shakespeare plays. Most of them are much more easier to get through and understand. Which is your favorite classic? Definitely Wuthering Heights. Some people don't like it, but I really love it. And which 2 classics would you heartily recommend? If I had to pick 2, I would say Something Jane Austen and Crime and Punishment. What kind of books do you like to review? Well, you could just look through my past videos and see what books I have reviewed, or my Goodreads. I'll pretty much review any book I've read, but usually I just review the ones that I really like as far as actually making videos for them. What is your favorite book as of yet? Like I said, Wuthering Heights, but other than that I'd probably have to say Harry Potter. What kind of genre do you wish you read more of? Probably nonfiction. I have a list on Goodreads of nonfiction books that I want to read, and there are definitely more than 100 on there. Do you have a genre you will never touch? Yeah, romance. Like Fabio on the cover kind of romance. Just not for me. Also 50 Shades of Grey. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
About 24 miles per hour, or 38.6 kilometers per hour. I know. I'm a nerd.
Which book have you reread the most? Wuthering Heights and Harry Potter, definitely. Aside from those books, I've reread very few books, and any of those I've probably only reread once. What's the longest book you've ever read? Les Miserables, over 1,000 pages, and there are a lot of words on these pages, as opposed to the Game of Thrones books, which are much smaller. And what's the shortest book you've ever read? Well, there are plenty of children's books that I've read that are pretty short. For example, my first book of Cars and Trucks. What is your field of study? And what job would you like to get afterwards? Well, believe it or not, I'm not in school. I'm almost 24 years old, and I've been graduated from college for 2 years now. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Painting from a 4-year art school, so you can do the math and figure out when I graduated from high school. And I have 2 part-time jobs. One is in the customer service and sales clerk area, and no, it's not in a mall. And for the other job, I get to work with books. What part of the world do you want to see or visit the most? Definitely Italy, especially Florence, for the art and the architecture. I have been in Paris and Madrid, but basically I'd like to go everywhere. Name a favorite book per genre. For children, definitely Harry Potter. For YA, definitely The Fault in Our Stars, or maybe Anna and the French Kiss. For adult contemporary, A Heartbreaking Work of Staggering Genius, or The Virgin Suicides. For classic, other than Wuthering Heights, Jane Austen. And for nonfiction, Refuge by Terry Tempest Williams was really good. I read that for my thesis. And for fantasy, A Song of Ice and Fire. What are your favorite booktubers? WordsofaReader, MotherEffingBooks, RinceyReads, AnAwkwardReader, TheReadables, LaraineBrotista, NerdinTranslation, ChapterStackss, BooksandQuills, kaseyrxrd, Marlin and Elina, VirtualBookshelves, Thebookfox, Shoutame, CheckedoutShow, and so many more. Where is your favorite spot to read? I really like reading in this chair because I can curl up in basically any position, but it usually has pillows and clothes and books in it, so I usually read on my bed, which has more room to shove all of that stuff to another part of the bed. Do you ever read out loud? Pretty rarely, and if I do, it's usually in a British accent or something like that, and I end up paying more attention to my voice than what I'm reading, so I have to read it all again. Would you ever consider visiting Ireland? Heck yes! Top 5 favorite authors: Jane Austen, John Green, J.K. Rowling, the Brontes, and Dave Eggers. Top 5 favorite bands: Mumford & Sons, Iron and Wine, Fleet Foxes, The Decemberists, Civil Wars, and way more. Like Regina Spektor, Laura Marlin, Kimbra, Bon Iver, Death Cab for Cutie, The Shins, and I also just started listening to Macklemore, and I love it. What's your favorite thing about being a booktuber? I love the community. I've never been the type of person to have a huge group of friends. I have 2 best friends and I love them to death, but it's nice to have a large group of people that I can discuss one of my favorite things with. It's kind of like I feel that I've found my place to sit at the YouTube lunchroom. Aw, cheesy. What's your favorite childhood memory? Every summer, my family used to go camping at the beach, and my grandparents would be in the camping site next door, and we would have campfires and roast marshmallows and tell stories, and we could hear the ocean and smell the fire, and those were the best of days. Do you have any siblings? I do. I have a brother. He's 2.5 years older than me, and he's a web programmer. What do you do with your spare time besides reading? I watch YouTube videos, what else? Also Tumblr. Sometimes I draw, but mostly Tumblr. Also Zelda. What's your favorite cereal? I really like the Special K Touch of Honey granola, but I don't eat it that often because it's kind of high in calories. But right now I pretty much always eat these multi-grain Cheerios with peanut butter and these off-brand Reese's Puffs. What characters do you relate to in film, TV, and books? But I relate to anyone who loves reading or art or is shy and quiet. Basically Hermione and Rory Gilmore. Who was your first celebrity crush? Definitely Justin Timberlake. It was love at first, bye bye bye. Well, actually I had the CD that came out before No Strings Attached, so it was love at first whatever single came from that album. Do you want proof? Here's a drawing I did of Justin Timberlake around the 6th grade or something. Also on the list, Ron Weasley. Yeah. And I had no idea that he would end up with Hermione. And just to prove that I can actually draw now, here's a picture of Donnie Darko. Who do you love to hate in film, TV, and books? I love to hate Joffrey. I'm so glad that he's not a real person. What are your guilty pleasures, like reality TV, a book, or food item? Chocolate. Also ice cream. And peanut butter. And milkshakes. And no-bake cookies. Also, I hate reality TV, and Twilight used to be a guilty pleasure, but I haven't reread it since the whole cultural realization of how bad it is. So I'm not sure I still love it, but if I did, I wouldn't feel guilty about it. Also Avril Lavigne. Just saying. How many unread books do you own? Have you ever considered going on a book buying ban? According to Goodreads, 109 books. But that doesn't include a whole bunch of books I recently bought from Kindle. So it's more than that. And a book buying ban? No way. And here's why. Almost every single booktuber I watch that has gone on a book buying ban has failed at going on a book buying ban. So it doesn't really work. Plus, I just see it as catching up from several years of being outside of the book community while I was busy with school. The only reason why I would slow down book buying is running out of room. It's a constant battle. Do you watch YouTube literary channels from other countries? Yeah, from all over, like Australia, Canada, the UK, continental Europe, all over the place. I would love for you to talk about how BookTube has changed the way you read books, if at all. I'm not sure it has changed my actual reading process, but it's definitely changed my collection of books, my list of books that I want to read, and my awareness of certain books and genres. Maybe, if anything, it reminds me to take a mental note of the writing style and the characters and all of that so that I can talk about it better in reviews. And it's also introduced me to the concept of insta-love, which so perfectly describes a problem that I felt with books in the past, like Twilight. Many books are way worse than that, but I always felt that they were in love a little too soon for my taste. And that's the end of the Q&A. It was mostly about reading questions, so if you have any other stuff that you want to know about me, like how tall I am or what my favorite color is, feel free to ask in the comments below. And again, thank you very much for watching my videos and supporting me and liking them. I really appreciate it, and yeah. I'll see you in the next video.
Ow!
Stars. Where is your NerdinTranslation chapters for adult contemporary? A heartbreaking work of staggering genius. Or the Do you use what?